static never leaves you. That white noise hiss. It's in my head even now, 7 years after I last touched a radio set. Constant, unending, like the ocean in a seashell, except it never stops, and behind it there are voices screaming that nobody can hear. Corporal James Bennett, 2nd Battalion, 31st Infantry Regiment, 7th Infantry Division. Before Korea, I was Jimmy from Des Moines. Worked at the radio station, KRNT, running the board for the overnight shift. Jazz programs mostly. Lonely work, but I liked it. Just me and the equipment and the music going out into the dark, reaching people I'd never meet. The Army needed radio operators, guys who understood equipment, understood frequencies, understood how to keep communications open when everything else was falling apart. I got drafted in March 1950, basic training at Fort Riley, then radio school. They taught us everything about the SCR 300 backpack radio, the walkie-talkie we'd carry into combat. 35 pounds of equipment that could reach maybe 5 miles on a good day. Less in mountains, less in bad weather, less when you really needed it. Korea started in June. North Korean forces poured across the 38th parallel. We shipped out in September as part of the United Nations response. Young guys mostly, barely trained, heading into a war none of us understood in a country none of us could find on a map 2 months earlier. They told us it would be over by Christmas. Quick action. Push the North Koreans back. Restore the border. Come home as heroes. We believed them. October 1950, we were part of the push north toward the Yalu River. MacArthur said Chinese intervention was impossible, said we'd be home for Christmas, said the war was essentially won. Then the Chinese came, 200,000 of them, pouring across the border, hitting our scattered units, surrounding us, cutting us off. November 1950, the temperature dropped to 20 below zero, and we were running, retreating, fighting our way south through mountains and snow and endless waves of Chinese soldiers. I was the radio operator for Charlie Company. My job was simple: maintain contact with battalion, call for support when we needed it, keep the lines of communication open. I did my job, called for help, over and over and over. It never came. November 27th, 1950. We were dug in near the Chosin Reservoir. Brutal cold, wind cutting through every layer we wore. We'd been hearing reports all day, Chinese forces moving in the area, lots of them, but command kept saying it was nothing. Keep moving north, maintain the advance. At 2200 hours they hit us. Bugles, that's what I remember first. Chinese bugles blowing in the dark, then whistles, then the sound of thousands of men moving through the snow, running at us, screaming. Our position erupted, machine guns opening up, mortars firing, rifles cracking. The Chinese came in waves. We'd cut down one wave and another would be right behind it, and another, and another. I was in the company CP, command post, a frozen hole in the ground with Captain Morrison and the other headquarters staff. My radio was set up, already on battalion frequency. Morrison was shouting orders, trying to coordinate the defense, trying to figure out what the hell was happening. "Get me battalion," he yelled at me. I keyed the handset. Echo 6, this is Charlie 6, over. Static, just static. I tried again. Different frequency. Same call, more static. Third frequency. Fourth. Fifth. Finally, a weak voice came through. "Charlie 6, this is Echo 6, actual. Send your traffic, over." Battalion. Thank God. Morrison grabbed the handset. "Echo 6, we are under heavy attack. Estimate battalion strength Chinese force. Request immediate artillery support, grid coordinates --." He rattled off the numbers. The radio operator on the other end acknowledged. Said they'd relayed a fire support. Said to stand by. We stood by, kept fighting. The Chinese kept coming. No artillery came. Morrison tried again 15 minutes later. "Echo 6, where is my fire support? We are being overrun." The response was broken, garbled. Heavy contact. All units unavailable. That's when I understood. Everyone was under attack. Every unit along the line. The Chinese hadn't just hit us. They'd hit everyone, and there was no help to send because everyone needed help. We were on our own. The attack lasted all night. The Chinese would pull back, regroup, then hit us again. Each wave got a little closer. Each wave cost us more men. I spent the night on the radio, calling for artillery that never came, calling for air support that couldn't fly in the dark, calling for reinforcements that didn't exist, calling and calling while men died 50 yards away. Echo 6, this is Charlie 6. We need immediate support. Over. Charlie 6, roger. All available assets are committed. Over. Echo 6, we have heavy casualties. Estimate 40% strength. Request permission to withdraw. Over. Charlie 6, negative. Hold your position. Over. Hold your position. They said it over and over. Hold your position. As if saying it made it possible. As if willpower could stop bullets and bayonets. By dawn, we'd lost 60 men, more than half the company. The Chinese had pulled back with the light, but we knew they'd come again once darkness fell. Captain Morrison gathered what was left of us, maybe 70 men still able to fight. Everyone else was dead or wounded or missing. Battalion says we hold, Morrison told us. His voice was flat, dead. Reinforcements are coming. Air support at first light. We waited for the air support, watched the sky, listened to the radio. Nothing. I kept calling. Echo 6, this is Charlie 6 requesting air support status. Over. Charlie 6, weather has grounded all aircraft. Air support unavailable. Over. The weather, of course. The same storm that was freezing us solid had grounded the planes. We were on our own. Again. November 28th. The Chinese came back, not just at night this time. They probed our positions all day, testing us, finding our weak points. We were low on ammunition, low on men, low on hope. Echo 6, Charlie 6, we cannot hold another night. Request permission to fall back to secondary positions. Over. Charlie 6, negative, orders from division. All units hold current positions. Over. Division, MacArthur's headquarters. Officers who weren't here, weren't freezing, weren't dying, weren't watching their men get torn apart because some general thought holding a line on a map mattered more than the lives it cost. Morrison took the handset from me. His hands were shaking. Frostbite, exhaustion, fear, maybe all three. Echo 6, this is Charlie, 6 actual. My company is combat ineffective. We have no ammunition reserves, no medical supplies. Temperature is 20 below. Half my men have frostbite. We will not survive another attack. Request immediate evacuation. Over. Long pause. Then, Charlie 6. Actual understood. Evacuation not possible at this time. Hold your position. Reinforcements en route. ETA unknown. Echo 6 out. Reinforcements en route. ETA unknown. Might as well have said Santa Claus is coming. Same level of reality. That night the Chinese hit us again. Harder this time. They'd brought up mortars. The ground shook with explosions. Men screamed. The defensive line broke in 3 places. I was calling for help. Same calls, same frequencies, same desperate requests. Echo 6, Charlie 6, we are being overrun. Need immediate support. Grid coordinates follows --. Charlie 6, all units engaged. No support available. Good luck. Out. Good luck. That's what they said. Good luck. Like we were playing a game. Like luck had anything to do with it. November 29th. Dawn. What was left of Charlie Company, maybe 40 men now, pulled back without orders. Morrison made the call. Said he wouldn't sacrifice more men for a position that didn't matter. We moved south, trying to link up with other units, trying to find somewhere we could make a stand, trying to survive. I kept the radio on, kept monitoring battalion frequency. They were calling us, demanding status reports, demanding we return to our position. Morrison wouldn't answer, just kept walking, kept the company moving. Finally, battalion got through on a relay from another unit. Charlie 6. Actual, this is Echo 6 Actual. You are ordered to return to your position immediately. Over. Morrison took the handset. Echo 6. Charlie Company is combat ineffective. Position is untenable. I am withdrawing to defensive positions south. Will report when established. Over. Charlie 6. You are in violation of direct orders. Return to your dash. Morrison handed me back the handset. Lost the signal, he said. I knew what he'd done, knew what it meant. They could court-martial him for disobeying orders, for unauthorized withdrawal, for everything he'd just done to save what was left of us. But he did it anyway. We moved south for 3 days, fighting rearguard actions, scrounging ammunition and food from abandoned positions, losing more men to frostbite and exhaustion in Chinese patrols. I kept calling, different frequencies now, emergency channels, trying to find anyone who could help, anyone who could tell us where to go, what to do. The responses were chaotic, broken, units scattered across the mountains, everyone retreating, everyone fighting, everyone dying. Any station, this is Charlie 6 requesting guidance. Over. Charlie 6, this is Baker 4. We're surrounded. Can't help. Good luck. Out. Charlie 6, this is Fox 2 falling back to Hagaruri. Suggest you do the same. Out. Charlie 6, Artillery 7. We're out of shells. Abandoning position. Out. The whole front was collapsing. The whole army was running. And I was still calling, still trying to find someone who could help, someone who had answers. Nobody did. December 1st. We reached Hagaruri, a small town at the south end of the Chosun Reservoir. The Marines had a perimeter there. Thousands of troops surrounded, holding on, waiting for orders to withdraw. We stumbled into their lines, 40 men left from Charlie Company. Half of them wounded, all of them frostbitten, all of them finished. They put us in warming tents, fed us, treated our wounded. I still had the radio, still had it on, still listening to the traffic, units calling for help. Help that wasn't coming. Same calls I'd been making for days. Same desperate voices, same static, same silence on the other end. I took off the headset, set it down. Couldn't listen anymore. Couldn't hear those voices calling into the void. Captain Morrison found me that evening, sat down next to me. Didn't say anything for a long time. Finally, you did your job, Bennett. You kept us connected, kept trying. That's all anyone could do. I nodded, didn't believe him. Because I had done my job. I'd called for help, over and over, and the help never came. What good is a radio operator if nobody's listening? December 6th. Orders came down. The entire force at Hagaruri, 10,000 men, Marine and Army, would break out, fight south to the coast, to evacuation. It was 78 miles through mountains and Chinese forces. Through the worst winter Korea had seen in decades. Through hell. I carried the radio. 35 pounds of equipment I didn't want, equipment that had failed me, failed all of us. But orders were orders. Radio operators carried radios. We moved out in convoy, trucks, jeeps, tanks, men walking. The Chinese hit us constantly, every hill, every turn in the road, every bridge. They wanted to destroy us, wanted to wipe out the entire force. I called for air support. Finally, the weather had cleared. The planes could fly. Echo 6, Charlie 6, we need close air support on Hill 1081. Enemy forces in the open. Over. Charlie 6, Roger, air support inbound, ETA 10 minutes, mark your position with panels. Over. 10 minutes later, Corsairs screamed overhead. Strafing runs, rockets, napalm. The Chinese positions on the hill erupted in fire. It worked, the air support worked. For the first time in 2 weeks, I'd called for help, and it came. I should have felt relief, should have felt vindicated, should have felt like the radio meant something again. But all I could think about was November 27th, when I'd called for air support and it didn't come, when I'd called for artillery and it didn't come, when I'd called for help and gotten good luck instead. Why did it work now? Why not then? What was different except that more men were dead? We fought our way south. The breakout took 13 days. We lost more men every day, frozen, shot, blown apart. Some just gave up, sat down in the snow and didn't get up. I kept the radio on, kept calling, kept coordinating. The support came now, the planes, the artillery, the help that should have been there 2 weeks ago. Too late for Charlie Company, too late for the 60 men who died at the Chosin Reservoir because nobody came. Too late for Captain Morrison. He was hit on December 10th, mortar round, killed him instantly. The man who'd saved 40 men by disobeying orders, who'd made the hard call when headquarters wouldn't. Gone. I carried his dog tags, carried them all the way to the coast, all the way home. Still have them. December 15th. We reached Hungnam. The port, the ships, evacuation. They loaded us on LSTs, packed us in like cargo. Thousands of frozen, wounded, traumatized men. We sailed south, away from the Chosin, away from the Chinese, away from the worst retreat in American military history. I sat in the hold with the radio next to me. Silent now. No more calls to make. No more requests for help that wouldn't come. Just static, always static. It's 1952 now. I've been home for a year, discharged, honorably, with a Bronze Star and a Purple Heart for minor wounds I barely remember getting. They wanted me to come back to the radio station, back to KRNT, back to my old job running the overnight board. I tried, lasted one shift, sat there in the studio with the equipment around me, with the microphone and the turntables and the transmitter humming. Everything familiar. Everything the same. But when I put on the headphones, all I heard was static. And behind the static, voices calling for help. Voices I couldn't answer. Voices that died because nobody came. I walked out at 0300 hours, never went back. I work at a hardware store now. Daytime hours, no radios. No headphones, no voices calling from the dark. But I still hear them. Every night, in my dreams, in that space between awake and asleep. Echo 6, this is Charlie 6. We need immediate support, over. Echo 6, we are being overrun, over. Echo 6, where is my fire support, over. Same calls, same frequencies, same desperate voice, mine, calling into the void, and the same response, good luck. People ask me about Korea sometimes, about the Chosin Reservoir, about the retreat. They've read the histories, seen the newsreels. They know it was bad. They don't know how bad, how it felt to call for help and get nothing, to watch men die while headquarters said, hold your position, to keep calling even when you knew nobody was coming. Nobody could come. They don't know what it does to you. To be the voice calling for help. To be the connection between dying men and the support they need. And to fail. Over and over. Until failure is all there is. I did my job, kept the radio on, kept making the calls, followed procedures, maintained discipline, and men died anyway. Captain Morrison saved 40 men by disobeying orders, by making the call that headquarters wouldn't, by choosing his men over the mission. They could have court-martialed him, but he died before they got the chance. Convenient for them. One less problem to deal with. I think about him a lot, about the choice he made, about how he knew it was wrong, by the book, by orders, by everything the Army taught, and did it anyway because it was right. And I think about the 60 men who died before he made that choice. The men I called for help for. the men nobody came for. Would they be alive if Morrison had disobeyed orders on November 27th instead of November 29th? If he'd pulled us back that first night instead of holding because headquarters said to hold? I think so. I think some of them would be. But we'll never know. Because orders were orders. Because the chain of command said hold. Because some general somewhere thought a position on a map mattered more than lives. And I was just the radio operator, just the voice calling for help, just the guy with the handset saying the same thing over and over. We need support. We need help. We're dying. And getting back, good luck. I don't use radios anymore, don't even listen to them. The hardware store has one, plays music for customers, but I make someone else turn it on. Can't touch it. Can't hear that static. Because the static never ends. It's still there. Still has voices behind it. Voices calling for help that never came. That will never come. That echo forever in frequencies nobody monitors anymore. 7 years since chosen. 7 years of carrying those voices. Of hearing them every night. Of knowing I did everything right and it didn't matter because the help wasn't there to send. They gave me a medal for maintaining communications under fire, for keeping the lines open, for doing my job. I keep it in a drawer with Captain Morrison's dog tags. Don't look at either one. What good is a medal for calling for help? For being the voice in the dark saying we're dying while headquarters says good luck? What good is any of it when the men still die? When the help never comes? When you do everything you're supposed to do, and it's not enough because the system is broken and the men at the top don't care or can't help or won't help? I don't know. I just know I can't touch a radio anymore. Can't hear that static. Can't be that voice calling into the void. Because somewhere, someone might answer. And I might have to hear them die while I tell them help is coming. Help that never will. The static never leaves you. That white noise, hiss. It's in my head even now. Constant, unending. And behind it, always behind it, voices calling for help. Voices I couldn't save. Voices that will call forever. Into static, into silence, into nothing.